Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. I just couldn't stay away any longer. This is my favorite wowsl time of the year when we have the Black Friday ships coming up and the just the holiday festivities. So yeah, we're back and sick. So I'm going to try to make it through this video, but yeah, we'll see. So if you haven't seen this little teaser trailer, this is the Pommern here, and they are teasing something for Black Friday. But let's not get ahead of ourselves as we jump into the patch notes here. The first thing to look at is the new campaign ship, the Silent Orca campaign. Sounds interesting. The ship? KVS. It is a tier 7 German destroyer, and it looks not very good. It looks not very good. Let me not be Aaron here, but I mean, this ship looks pretty mediocre. For starters, it does not have sonar, 4 150mm guns. These are the same size as Z39, I believe, so they're pretty big, hard-hitting guns, but there are only 4 of them, and that is a slow reload. The torpedo armament, if you're looking at it, this is a very mediocre German torpedo armament, probably the same as Z23. It's just blah. They don't hit that hard. They're not necessarily that fast. That torpedo range is terrible, and then a 90-second reload is unremarkable, and only 8 of them. So, not really looking that great. You lack the hydro. You lack AA. It's not very fast. I think the only things that it really has going for it are probably a good HP pool, hopefully, and then PC, it has a repair party consumable. And, you know, once again, this is the PC version of the ship, so we could get a very, very different version of it. We have seen that quite a few times, but I'm just saying from looking at this ship, it doesn't look very good at all. You know, maybe another Velos campaign, just kind of like a mediocre destroyer. I don't know. We'll have to see more on that later, but right now I am not very excited about this one. It is a 4-week campaign, so let's point that out for sure. It's shorter than usual. That way we can set everything up for the you know, Christmas and the holidays and that big update, the really super fun update. Yeah. So anyways, only 4 weeks to get all of this stuff, and what I'm guessing will be a very, very mediocre reward ship. And that brings us to Black Friday. Usually these are some of the coolest skin ships in the game. I really, really love the blacked out version premium ships. So let's see what they're bringing to us this year. Owami. Okay. Tier 8 IJN battleship that honestly I really enjoy. I love the firing angles of the guns of an Owami. The torpedo armament is really great. Pieter Bagration. This is one of the most slept on premium cruisers at tier 7, in my opinion. If you need a global XP cruiser, this would be the one I would go for. So again, I'm already seeing, you know, why not to spend money on this, because you can get it for global XP. The destroyer USS Black. This is really, really cool and slept on destroyer at tier 7. It has its own radar, and they buffed it, I don't know, a year or so ago, made it very, very powerful. It still lacks the shell ballistics of the Fletcher, but man, if I kind of want to bully people and not play the USS Sommers because that's cheating, then I play the USS Black, and you're going to have a good time in that ship. So this is an interesting ship to come back. It was a campaign ship, and it's not been available. The Alaska B. This is going to be the crate drop ship. So in previous years, you know, there was the Otago Black, the Napoli Black, ships that you could only get from gambling and crate drops. So that will be the Alaska B this year. And then finally, this one, the Pommern B, like this video was showcasing, I think here towards the end of it. Yeah, there you go. And what a cool throwback to this game. This was such a fun game when video games were fun, and you know, you didn't get charged an arm and a leg. You didn't have to buy battle passes or anything. You just bought a game, put it in the disc tray, and played it and enjoyed it. And yeah, weren't those the days, huh? Anyways, Pommern Black looks good. Here she is joining the rest of the Black fleet over here. By the way, in this video, if you look at the other ships, it doesn't show any of the other new ones. You know, you have the Massachusetts and the Tirpitz and the Ibuki. So we don't get to see any of the other ships like the Pieter Bagration or the USS Black or any of that stuff. But the thing about the Pommern B is it's coming in the crafting station. Now, aside from the auction, I think the crafting station was the biggest bunch of malarkey I've ever seen. How many resources it cost to get the shill was an absolute joke. So we will see how it's implemented this time, but I feel like they're already hinting Lots of spare resources. You know, for wargaming, lots of spare resources could mean several years worth of premium account days, all the promotion orders you've earned in years, credits, global XP, all of that stuff. Yeah. Anyways, we'll see how they implement it, but I'm probably not going to touch this with a 10-foot pole. Not to mention that Pommern, in my opinion, is the worst premium battleship at tier 8. I'm trying to rack my brain for a battleship that's actually worse than this. The firing angles are horrible. It has a lot of HP in the superstructure. It can be farmed out pretty readily. I just not a fan of that ship. Didn't think it was very good. It has torpedoes, but they get knocked out basically all the time. So yeah, other than having a cool new camouflage, no thanks. And that brings us to the Thanksgiving celebration. Celebrate Thanksgiving with us November 25th through the December 2nd. Complete Thanksgiving on the Waves. A free mission to get some camouflages, a new flag, a new patch, and a 24 crate. So that's cool. Maybe you get a ship drop in that. Not sure. Also, don't miss the 20% discount on US tier 4 through 8 tech tree ships available during the same period. That's also pretty cool. That's the best time. If you have, a lot of XP on ships and you just haven't purchased them because it's a lot of silver, this is the best time to do it. The Pirate Collab will be returning. So for those of you that don't know, that is the knockoff version of the Jean Bar and the Capri. There were also some commanders, Michael Latier and a British destroyer commander. The commanders really weren't that good, but the ships are worth looking at, except for the Capri. The Capri is hot trash. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But the Lafouder, the knockoff Jean Bar, is pretty interesting. The Gdańsk Bureau Project. So finally, we get another legendary tier ship, and this one is the Gdańsk. So if you've been playing your way up the Pan-European split destroyer line, the newer destroyer line, that is what this is going to be. Just looking at this thing, you can see it kind of has French lines. It really looks like a Kleber. And yeah, that's what you can expect from the Gdańsk. It is going to actually have, I think it is like Småland torpedoes. You're going to have 10 of them. They are super fast. They don't deal a ton of damage. But Gdańsk is going to have a very powerful gun armament as well. And they're going to be like French guns, if I understand it correctly. 139 millimeter. Yeah, these are French guns. So they're going to have big, flat firing arcs. They're going to be good at range. And the HE is going to hit like a truck. You do not get AP in this one, just like the other destroyers in that line. But Gdańsk also gets radar and smoke. So this is a super, super powerful ship. The only bad thing about it is it's a big ship. So you have to be careful. You probably should play it from a little farther ranges because it's big and unmaneuverable. It's not going to be good for knife fighting. It has a good HP pool, but it's such a large target that you could definitely get creamed. But overall, I think this is going to be a really cool addition at Legendary tier. And that brings us back to crates. We'll start our countdown for New Year's on December 2nd. To bring the festive vibes, they're returning all of these collections like the D-Day collection and some of the other ones that you can go back through and get the rewards from them. And they'll release that full list a little later on. Finally, a new global XP ship, the Chkalov. It's just too bad that it is an aircraft carrier, but still, at least it'll be available for global XP, and we've needed a GXP ship for a really, really long time. I don't know a lot about this ship, but I went and looked it up on PC. Here's what we can expect. The squadrons, 6 planes, they're going to be slow. This will be a carrier that you want to get close to the action. I'm assuming you're going to be able to drop all of your ordnance in one drop, just like we already have that mechanic. And torpedoes and skip bombers, I do believe. Yeah, interesting. I'm glad it's available for global XP. That's cool. It's just too bad we didn't get another ship that, more of the player base actually cared about. I would be really curious, what percentage of the population of World of Warship Legends plays carriers and or are carrier mains? I would say it's a very, very small percentage, but still can't complain about something free being brought to the game. Worth pointing out here as well, if you don't have the GXP, it looks like you can also spend money on her until November 25th. This update will also have Pearl Harbor in it, December 7th. Will this update go that far? I don't know. You do the math. But to commemorate the 83rd anniversary of the attack on Pearl Harbor, we're launching a new historical mission available from December 5th through the 12th. Complete it playing a US or Japanese ship from tier 3 to legendary tier to receive a Pearl Harbor flag. Very cool. 10 promos, red, white, and blue camos, and IJN camouflages. Okay. Another Brawl season returns. This one sounds like the kookiest version of Brawl I have ever heard. 3v3 matches where you can have destroyers versus battleship teams. Interesting. And they've done a few things to kind of gear it towards that. Very weird. Yeah. I thought it was interesting. It's going to be a tier 5 and they don't allow you to play any German or Japanese ships. So no spamming the Fubuki, which that's great because the Fubuki is kind of ridiculous. It's a very, very powerful tier 5 Japanese destroyer. And then the Mackinson with the sonar, I guess that might make it a little bit unfair as well. So interesting to see that they just excluded 2 Navy lines. Yeah. Fleet Cup returns. That's cool. Gamepad support on Android. So it's already been out for Apple and now Android players will have gamepad support. So that is pretty cool. There were some balance changes as well, and we'll jump over to the Ministry of Balance and cover those. Velos got a pretty decent buff, 5 seconds off of the torpedo reload time. The rudder shift is getting brought down to, I don't know, is that USS Fletcher levels? And then the shell damage is being increased to, I think, Fletcher levels. I'm pretty sure Fletcher, tier 7 US tech tree ship Fletcher, doesn't she already have 2,000 damage? Let's go find it here. Oh, 1900. Also pointing out here, the Fletcher had its shell drag coefficient reduced, so the shells actually fly a little bit faster. And that was a lot of people's complaints about the Velos, is that the Fletcher was better and really the Chungmu were better. So hopefully these buffs here will kind of bring the Velos more in line. Also, the torpedoes are getting a big increase in speed. Whoa. And 100 meters off of the torpedo detectability range. So the reaction time to these torpedoes now, I would be curious what they are, but they're going to be quite a bit more saucy. Now the Velos only has 1 rack of torpedoes, so it's still not a huge torp threat, but 55 seconds and then buffed down with skills to, I don't know, 45. I think I did a torp build on mine because the gun reload was already pretty fast. But yeah, I mean, that's going to be like battleship damage con times, hit him with 1 set of torpedoes, and then if they damage con a flood, hit him with the 2nd set of torpedoes. Pretty interesting. The Capri is getting buffed. Now, largely, anyone who's followed my channel for a while knows that I think the Capri is the worst tier 7 destroyer in the entire game. Pretty bad. But it is finally getting some love. Look at this. A kilometer on the range. HE shell damage is getting buffed. AP is getting buffed as well. See, the Capri just didn't make a lot of sense. You gave up so much from the Le Fantasque to get the consumables that you got. Capri has had the worst HE DPM in the game, worse than the Udachi, if that puts it into perspective for you. But it is getting buffed now, so that is interesting. In fact, let's see here. Let's go ahead and run the numbers. What are we going up to? 2,000? I mean, the HE DPM will be a little marginally better, not a ton. But I would, yeah, still pretty bad, but at least you have more range. The ship just felt kneecapped, so kneecapped. And I know it's not about the guns, it's about the torpedoes. And the other bad thing about that is, they're wing mounted torpedoes. So you can only launch 6 at a time, then you have to turn your ship around to launch 3 more. I just did not vibe with the Capri. Thought it was a terrible ship. But anyways, cool. It's getting some love in time for it to return for sale. Benson is getting buffed. Interesting. Okay, that is a pretty big torpedo range increase. The Champhan is getting improved reload times for her armament. Not by much, but okay, interesting. The Mahan is getting buffed, which is interesting to me. I ground up this line, like 4 or 5 years ago, and they're just now getting it a buff. The Farragut is definitely known as the Honey Badger of tier 4. It is a monster. And then, yeah, the Mahan just didn't differentiate itself from the Farragut very much. You went from cleaning clocks with the Farragut to just being pretty mediocre in Mahan and still not really being able to stealth torp. Well, that is all changed now. So that is interesting. Long time coming on that one. The Go Case is getting a little bit of a nerf. Main battery is increasing by 1 second. Very interesting. Clear Sky metal changes. So remember, it went from 25 to 40, and now they're bringing it back to 30, which is cool. I think. I think 40 was way too much. Maybe, you know, even when the aircraft carriers were completely broken after the rework, yeah, 40, that's a lot. That is a lot. So I'm glad that they are fixing that. Aircraft carrier spawn point changes. Okay, this is big because I've long complained about this. So now on these maps, carriers will spawn only at the central point. So what had been happening for the longest time, and it was very frustrating. Let's just pull up a picture here. So if you have your normal spawn points, we have 9 ships. You would have 1, 2, 3 ships and a carrier, 4, 5, 6, and then the last 2 ships would be over here on the weak side alone. And it just made no sense. So the carrier was also over here, and this side was just really heavily loaded. So now the carrier will spawn in the middle and everything will be a little bit more balanced, hopefully. So I'm excited about that change. I think that is a good one for sure. Overall, pretty cool patch notes. There's not a lot else going on here really that I saw. If I had to complain about anything, the return of the crafting station, yeah, I could definitely complain about that. And also the black ships. Normally my favorite part of the Black Fleet collab has been the ships that are tech tree ships and they differ a little bit, like the Bismarck B actually got different statistics. The Ibuki B actually got different statistics. If it is a black version of an already premium ship, it will be identical. The stats will be the same. So it's just a reskinned ship. So there really isn't any new ship here. And that is a little bit disappointing. We got spoiled with Bismarck B, Ibuki B, and Dante Alighieri B. But anyways, that's my complaint. Overall, though, still a cool update and a lot to look forward to. Let me know what you guys think of the update down below. I would love to hear from you. This is Derka signing off. Catch you in the next one. See ya.